break
to do, to arrive at the right place.
Okay, well, we'll come back to this. Let me just plead with my technical team, Ivan.
I think to your panel who spoke, I think overbearing emotions and threats in this particular manner doesn't work. If you are going to lead people, you should know how to speak, especially on matters like this. If you look at appointment letter that has been issued, if you check it, all of them are telling you that they owe them 10 months. 9 months. It tells you the appointment letter, it doesn't matter when it was issued, all was pinned in January, which falls within the transition period. These are the facts. And again, he said teachers are being posted within a particular period. Hold on. I'm saying about 90% of the people, not an isolated case. Let me make a point. Again. No. It's not just you. I'm saying that majority of the people.
Okay, you know what, gentlemen?
Majority of the people. You understand? So we should be looking at practical solutions. You understand? We are talking about a conversation being devoid of politics. You see, when you're seeking this whole thing, the conversation is laced with a bit of politics. As young people, you understand? So I think we should be looking at practical solutions, how we can address some of these things, rather than the kind of conversation being made here. You understand?
When I brought practical solutions, did you take it?
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah.
You know what? Okay, I'll come back to all of you. You know what? Let's go for a great point there. We need to go. So let me give the final thought to all of you on this, Chairman.
Yeah, Blessed. As a country, I don't know where we are heading towards, because when we started this conversation, we're dealing with teachers and nurses, but they appear to be more politicians than even the politicians themselves, because this particular Galamsey issue has become like a cancer that is staring at us. And as young people, I think we should endure our interest at addressing the critical...
Do you agree that the selectivity?
It's not about selectivity. You see, Wontumi was accused of having gotten involved in Galamsey at the time President Akufo-Addo was president, when Kwaku Baako and others brought the issue up. The president went to Catholic Bishop Conference somewhere in Koforidua, stood in front of the Catholic bishops and announced to the whole world, without having done any investigation, both preliminary or extra form of investigation, and announced to the whole world that Wontumi wasn't guilty of anything. If some measures had been taken at the time, maybe today we wouldn't be here. Maybe the last time I came here, I told you the best approach to resolving this Galamsey thing is going radical and establishing the conventional red lines in the sand and tell people that there are consequences for actions. You understand? Yes, Wontumi is the first person to be dealt with. But I think that we need to go for the Frimpong Boateng report, because there are a lot of people sitting in that particular report. It shouldn't be Wontumi alone, you understand? Because if you look at the level of distraction that has happened in this country, Wontumi alone couldn't have. There are a lot of people, I don't care where they belong to, whether they're NDC or MPP, we need to prosecute them just to establish that particular piece.
Dr. Nava, yes, you're concluding.
As a doctor, I'm saddened about Galamsey and its effect on Ghanaians, especially children and our future cancer incidents, because in 10 years' time, mercury and arsenic would cause a lot of cancers in this country to worsen our non-communicable diseases. Anybody who is accused, who is alleged to be involved in Galamsey should be dealt with without mercy. If it is Wontumi, it should be dealt.
Are you saying these people are a victim of that?
Yes. No, they know. How many of them are not in pain? How many of them are not in Tescon? And look at what happened to Wontumi when they arrested. You saw the queues and people demonstrating? That they must release him. Let them arrest a politician who has been corrupt. I'm not saying he is guilty until he's proved.
Dr. Nava, all of this is fine, but when this is settled and done and dusted, they'll still come back to you and say, when are you going to pay us? That's
beautiful.
That's the basic question.
So now I'm coming.
We'll face them.
The minister,
you give them 3 months.
Yes.
They come back. You give them more excuses. They're saying, well,
I'm not in the minister's. I'm not in the minister's books.
Yeah, obviously.
But I can tell you, I run a business. And I know when I increase salaries, I know when I take people to work. I must have money, projections of money to come in before I take people to work. The government of Ghana must have its projections that this is the money I can make, and use the money judiciously. Not to use the money for frivolous things that do not add value to the country, to job creation. Sinking how many
you are in parliament. You can help these people out.
We're helping them.
How are you helping them?
That is why they are praising our minister. They are praising our minister because we're on him to make sure he gets the money from the finance minister.
So when will the money come, Dr. Adama?
I can't tell you when the money should come because I'm not the finance minister. I'm not in the coffers. But I know some have been boarded and some have been paid, and definitely some will be paid. Once there's no money, you know the economic position of this country. You know the finances of this country better than me because you go at John journalist. You dig a lot. You dig a lot, and you know what is there. If there is money, do you think a government would like to be looked bad before the public like we are doing now to the government? No. But I'm saying that this is not today's issue. This is probably a generational or issues in decades that has been happening, that we have to find a solution to it. How do we pay? How do we pay workers? We pay workers when we have money in the coffers. How do we get money in the coffers? Revenue mobilization and judicious use of money. And if you want to look at whether we are getting enough revenue, you see the seepages are so much. If you want to analyze how we use our money, you see that we are misusing money too much to an extent that the Public Accounts Committee is overwhelmed with so much of misuse of money in the country. If all those money is 12, 18 billion that has been misused and Parliament has the record.
Yeah, but that's in the past now. How about the little
now it's working now? Please, now point to me since we came in. Which corruption allegation have you seen? It means it's improving.
And is that
people have been employed?
Is that paying the bills?
No, definitely. We have to move the country from a junk economy to a better economy.
Janet,
it doesn't pay their bills,
right?
But you see, I want us to be factual and contextual. Let's not only stand to talk against a government because they are part of the government. They voted the government for what? For a change, for a reset, and the government is telling them that he's going to do it. But if we don't stabilize the economy to a point and rush all the money to pay people, if it's your business, taking Ghana to be an entity, business entity, how will it be?
Great question.
I sympathize with them, frankly speaking. But the problem is not today's minister or today's president. The problem is a generational problem that we must all sit down and look at it and fix it.
A generational problem. Well, Ivan Chase just joining us. Ivan, good morning to you. Janet, you've heard Dr. Anaba. So it's more about the economy. If we have more money, according to him, all my colleagues and brothers, the teachers and nurses would have been paid by now. It's because he believes the economy was mismanaged in the past.
Let me greet you, my co-panelists, and then
the studio
audience. I was just listening to him. It's true we sympathize with them, but why are we sympathizing? Why should you employ someone for 11 months without payments? Dr. Edward Mahama used to tell me something. He said when he was a student in Legon, he completed in August. In September, he had his salary.
His first pay.
They were not using computers. They were not using any technology, and they could do that. Today we are using technology, using all sort of things, and yet we cannot be able to pay people. Just let's put ourselves into their shoes. We who take salary at the end of the month, when you take the salary, how far? By the time you turn back, there's no money. And yet someone is working for 11 months without pay. And we are telling them, now we are giving them stories. There shouldn't be any
You feel it's stories. Is it not reality? It's not the reality, actually.
Well, I heard him speak about corruption. And the corruption, see where he took it. He said that the health minister, he has forgotten that before the health minister came, it was his ministers. We had the Atoforsin case, which was 56 million Ghana cedis. We had the Collins Dawuda case, which was $200 million. We have a Opunis case, which was about $290 million. We talk about
all these cases.
No. It never ended in court. It never ended in court.
The Opuni case, I covered a part of it was in court.
A nolly case has nothing to do with the court. The court established a prima facie case against these people, ready to take off. They even took off. Look, the wheels of justice, it grinds slowly. So you don't come to say that because they have been there for 8 months and so what, even if they are there for 20 years and so what, you give them a nolly prosequi for them to just go, and then you move that one aside and you shift yourself to the MPP who just completed. You have finished about how many years? 16 years. That one we should leave. Crime has no expiring date. There is no expiring date to crime. So you see, when he was talking, I thought maybe he was going to be patriotic. Because when you are going
you don't think he was?
No, he's not patriotic, he's doing politics. Really? And which is so bad. That's the reason why. He's part of the reason, he's part of the problem of Ghana. Because if we want to do empirical analysis of the problem of Ghana, it is the NPP, his political party, which
the NDC, you mean?
The NDC and the MPP, but they are the people who started it because they have ruled this country more than any other, more than the MPP. So if we are having problems in this country, you the one who have ruled more, we will bring you in and bring the other one who copied all your steps and has also messed up our economy.
So
we bring the two of
these people then.
So he's talking about we misusing money and other things. Of course, if today you are dragging people that they what is it called? They are causing financial, not financial loss. If you are using things like oral is not a realistic thing. Look at the team members. These are people who had problems with the MPP. If you want to,
I'm concerned about getting cash for these people.
Just look at the budget that they read in Parliament. 297 million Ghana cedis for the Jubilee House. That money, where is it going to? You know, I've written a petition to Ioko that they should investigate Felix Ofosu-Kwakye's office for that money. These people could have been paid. You are talking about a budget. We had a whole Ministry of Information, that used 6 million Ghana cedis to run. 6 million Ghana cedis. And you just came and you want to use 78 million Ghana cedis to run, not a ministry, a department at the Jubilee House. 78 million Ghana cedis.
You feel that? So you feel we should use that money to...
And you know something? Instead? When we push him to tell us why he did that, he told us that, he has about 3 agencies under his ministry, under him. But the Information Ministry had 6 agencies under them. And they were using 6 million. What are you using the 78 million Ghana cedis for? These people could have been paid as a result of that. The whole Jubilee House, they budgeted 2.7 billion Ghana cedis for Jubilee House. When Anado was there, he budgeted 324 million Ghana cedis. Where is this money? He's just telling me that we've not yet caught anybody. Of course, Felix Ofosu-Kwakye, I've sent him to Ioko. I don't know whether you don't know. Ioko wrote back to me that it is not under their jurisdiction.
So you feel we should cut a bit of that budget and use that?
I am telling you, do you know that President Mahama is appointing deputy ambassadors? What do we need deputy ambassadors for? They are mismanaging our resources. The NDC government, the reason why these people are not paid is as a result of mismanagement. The two of them, MPP and NDC, I don't know what we will do. If I were to have power, I will gather all of them and put them in one car and send them to a no man's land. And the car will just go wherever it's going to go.
Interesting.
But I'm telling you, because all what we are now saying is because of mismanagement of our resources.
So we want these people paid.
We want them paid. So let's look at the budget. Let's go back to the Jubilee House and cut off that budget. When we cut off the budget from Jubilee House, cut off the deputy ambassadorial positions he's giving to people, what do we need it for? We will pay these people and employ more. Apart from that, GTEC has come out with a lot of people who are holding fake doctorate degrees and they are collecting salary. Look, I wrote to GTEC telling GTEC that even that one is small. If you go into people who are holding fake master's degrees, and they are working, collecting huge sums of money, when we go into it, we will eliminate all of them and bring the genuine people to come and work. Because I am telling you, if we allow GTEC to go into our various ministries to check, you will see there will be a bomb blast.
Okay, before I come to Ivan, I understand that teachers, even the mainstream teachers, they are asking for a pay rise as well. So I'm just wondering how government will be able to handle all of this. Kina Lee is with CCT. He's joining us via Zoom. Kin, I just want to hear you briefly so we can make progress. He's joining us via Zoom. What's the concern of your group and how much pay rise are you looking for? Tewo is asking for 50%.
Thank you very much, and a lot of greetings to all your listeners and all the teachers out there. The name of my union, we've changed it to Pre-Tertiary Teachers Association of Ghana, PRETAC.
Okay. Right.
So now we are PRETAC. You can see PRETAC for short.
All right.
2 things in one. We are about negotiating our base pay. The challenge we have always had is that in Ghana, you could see economic conditions going down. So currently we are seeing inflation going below 10%. We are having a single digit for the first time in some years. And then we see the $dollar ratio stabilizing. Unfortunately, the basic things the teacher or the Ghanaian employee uses his salary to do isn't going down. So when you go to the market, the cost of foodstuffs, basically, the cost of electricity, the cost of rent, the cost of water, this is what we call the utility inflation or the daily inflation. These things are not decreasing. Currently, we have ECG asking for about 200% increase. We have Ghana Water asking for increase. And then foodstuffs are going up. So though inflation might be coming down, the cedi dollar rate might be stable, what basically we use our money to do isn't going down. And that makes it difficult for us to accept a lower percentage. This year, we were given 10%. The president himself came to the meeting and told us that economic conditions are a bit difficult. The economy has been mismanaged. In fact, he called Ghana a crime scene and pleaded with Labour to accept 10% and told us that the next negotiations that we are going to do, they will have put things in place and they will give us a better percentage. If that is anything to go by, it means that we shouldn't be looking at anything below a double of what was given the last time. Now, of the teachers that have not been paid, it is quite an unfortunate situation. You see, Ghana is a country that have laws, but the laws only works most of the time against the vulnerable. We have the 1992 Constitution that we use in this country, our supreme law. And then we have the Labour Act. Both the Labour Act of 2003 and the 1992 Constitution makes it clear that no employee should work and at the end of the week, if the person receives wages, or at the end of the month, if the person receives salaries, and the person should not be paid. If that happens, it is criminal. So if a private sector person employs people and a month, 2, 3, the employees have not been paid, government goes in. Sometimes these employers are even arrested. They are brought before court. Sometimes they are jailed. Sometimes even if they pay their salaries and then they fail to pay their pensions, like tier 1 and tier 2, government hold them before the court. They are prosecuted and they are put in jail. We remember the case of Opesika Agudi. Unfortunately, the same government can employ people, and for several months, sometimes years, the people will not be paid. But these people are rendering service to this nation. It is sometimes unthinkable. You really do not understand why somebody working, a person needs to be paid about between 3,000 to 4,000 Ghana cedis a month, and a country like Ghana isn't finding resources to pay them, but we always get money to do so many other things. When you think about it, you won't understand. Why should a teacher, for that matter, leave College of Education, posted to serve his country for well over 12 months, and the person have not been paid? But we expect such a teacher to wake up in the morning, dress up, go to the classroom, go stand there and go and teach the future leaders of this country. What kind of better job do we expect from such a person? And what kind of future leaders do we want? The issue of there's no money is neither here nor there. In fact, I have all the financial clearance that were issued last year for the employment of teachers. Then the new government comes and tells us that when the financial clearance was issued, at the time that the teachers were employed, the financial clearance have expired. What kind of language is that? Is government not a continuum? So if the previous government issued the financial clearance, and then the financial clearance has expired, and a new government have come, the fact that the previous government issued the financial clearance, it means we have some kind of fiscal space. Although that fiscal space has expired and we are in a new financial year, the people have been employed. So quickly you make a space and renew the financial clearance and get the people paid. Initially, when this new government came, what they even did was that they issued a directive sacking all of them, sacking all those teachers, people that has been employed and deployed to the rural communities of this country. Some of them cross rivers. Some of them are teaching in war torn areas in this country. There was a teacher that was crossing the Volta Lake in Volta Region to go and teach, and he died. He has not been paid. He died. I have heard was even Joy even made that news for us all to hear. The first thing they did was to issue a fiat that all those people has been sacked. The unions will have to come in and fight for another directive to be issued under the auspices of the Minister for Education that therefore be reinstated, but they should go through some processes again for them to be issued with a new appointment letters and all that. When government comes to power, you can target people that are politically employed. Me, if a new government comes to power and he sacks an IGP, I care less, because a president cannot leave and allow somebody he didn't appoint to lead security services that's around him. I don't have a problem. But a teacher, an innocent teacher who is apolitical and has been appointed and recruited and posted to a certain village somewhere, where one person is handling class 1 to 6, and you say that because he was employed the previous government have sacked the person. People talk, you say you are free to state the person, then you are not paying them. You are not paying them. How much at all?
Yeah, I see.
Why we pay this to ourselves as a country?
Yeah. It's so interesting that you're raising all of this, and the nurses are also in the mix. And Ivan, you have some connection and affinity with the nurses as well because of your background. It's sad, isn't it? But all we need is to get them paid. That's my concern right now, because for these people, whatever argument you make, whatever point you make, they still want to have their cash. That in the end, that's what they are looking for.
Exactly, that is the point. And let me say good morning to your viewers and my co-panelists and everyone around. I think it's quite disappointing to be dabbling in this kind of conversation. And my worry is that as a country, we are not growing. We seem to be retrogressing at a very lightning speed, because where you expect that whenever we come at a crossroad, we take corrective measures and able to, move on in a direction that will speed up our growth as a country. Because this particular conversation that we've been having, this is not the first time. Just like Dr. Anaba said, some sort of a generational problem. The worker or the student who just graduated and has been employed is looking for nothing but for his salary. And there is no justification, just like we are indicating, that can absolve anybody from any blame. All that they know is that they are working and they deserve to be paid. Unfortunately, they are caught up in the vicious cycle of a certain dirty politicking in this particular country. And that is the reason why we are here. The question is that whatever it is, government is supposed to provide employment opportunities for these young people. It doesn't matter where they belong across the political divide, who employ them or who employ them. But the reality of the situation we have at hand is that, you see, these people have become some sort of a bargaining chip in our politics. For instance, if you look at the way and manner we employ people, it's not as if we don't have the capacity, and it's not as if we don't have the means to employ. But very often we are interested in the politics aspect of it. And whenever we are addressing these challenges, we go narrow, we fixate on emotion, we become very emotional, interfacing with politics, and we ignore the relevant and the critical fact of these matters that we are supposed to deal with. You see, there was a time ago that Honorable Osafo made an announcement that the previous government, that was the NDC government, had, employed people. At the time they were hesitant, and for that matter, the government at the time didn't have much financial allocation to be able to take care of these people. An announcement was made, and these people, according to the report, were sacked. So my question is that if that is the reality, whether there was a challenge or not, after admitting publicly, the question is that in the spirit of good governance, why would another person come and do the same thing? And at the end of the day, these innocent young people are victims, you understand? So in the spirit of good governance, you don't come and repeat the same thing. But for me, I will not blame anybody, because you see, in politics, always people want to capitalize on some of these things just for political capital, whatever. But the reality is that, have we sat down and realized that there is a challenge, a real problem that has to be addressed? For me, I think that the framework of this Presidential Transition Act is very weak, because it does not provide the necessary safeguard for good governance within that particular period.
Do you first of all feel that there's enough justification that, well, the certificate that was issued for their employment has expired?
No, there is no justification. They have worked.
Okay.
And there is nothing that can be done about it. So the mere fact that they have worked, they deserve to be paid. You understand? But we need to, do away with emotions, politics, and tackle the root cause, because this is a sort of a generational thing that we've been talking about.
And very often, and apologies to the teachers and the nurses.
Yes.
It's almost as though
exactly.
For the other professions, you don't really care about that a lot.
They are being used as a bargaining chip in this.
When you say bargaining chip,
because we have a lot of nursing trainees coming out every year, a lot of teachers coming up. Their population is heavy, so they are the very people you can use to play this kind of chess game. You understand? But in our approach, we become very narrow in pursuing solutions. My problem is that if you look at the Transition Act, that there are a lot of that structurally it is very weak. It's not good to provide that safeguard that is needed for good governance. That is why within that period.
And you're parking, and I'm just using that word loosely, you're parking the payroll before I take over.
Yes.
When I come, I would want to run an audit.
Exactly.
And that's what Dr. Thomas Anaba was saying, that you won't just take over and begin to pay, because you also want to watch the book.
Exactly, and that because there are no financial sort of commitment, it becomes very difficult. You see, like I'm saying, any of these things do not justify what they are going through, because they are innocent victims who have worked. You understand? But the reality is that let us tackle the problem. The problem is that during the transition period, that is all this shitty stuff happens. It happened when NDC was in power, and it's happening today. But whenever we are tackling the problem, we jump over it. There is a structural problem. For me, I think we need to create some sort of a freeze period within that particular frame, so that we avoid this unnecessary creation of problems where innocent people become victims. You understand? But in all the conversation going around, nobody has even mentioned the Transition Act. But that is actually the problem. You understand? So I think we need to review the Transition Act. If we can create a freeze period that from election day to the time the person takes over, maybe within that period, it's a short period of time. If nothing happens, this country, nothing will happen. You understand? There are certain critical areas we might consider. But if you don't do, because in our part of the world, we don't do politics with diligence. We don't exercise positive discretion. We are very dangerous and very vicious people, always want to create challenge for the other guy. It happens when NDC was exited. It's happening when MPP was exiting today. So it's not going to stop. In the next 4 years, we will come back here and be talking about the same problem. So I think in order to avoid all this unnecessary recrimination, counter-accusation, stuff, we need to look at the Transition Act, amend it, and if possible, create a freeze period, or if possible, the new government and the exiting government at any point in time will have to collaborate if such appointment has to be made. If we don't do some of these things, trust me, we will be repeating this conversation over and over and over, and nothing will happen, because for the politicians sitting somewhere, these young guys are bargaining chip. You understand? Because he might, during elections, I might want to push a lot of them, give them maybe fake appointment letter and stuff, just for political expediency. They will vote for me after elections. We've had instances where police salary were increased after election. They realized that it was some sort of a fake kind of increment. You understand? So for the politician, always these people are bargaining chip.
And some in the audience disagree with you. I come to Kamal shortly, but Dr. Anaba, you just wanted to add something briefly before I come to Kamal.
I think my co-panelist mentioned Ofosu Kwache. I don't really know much about that story. And that budget,
she says it's too much money. Too much money.
That budget was brought to Parliament. Parliament saw it.
Both NDC.
Both NDC and NPP.
And they worked out.
Was the e-levy passed by NDC and NPP or not?
No, it was NDC.
So, my friend, it's Parliament. Parliament is Parliament. Irrespective of who was there. So, budget was passed and it was approved. The Ghanaians voted for that Parliament. Whatever we do, it is Ghanaians that voted for it.
So even when you are misusing our resources,
we are not misusing. Please let me talk.
I'll give you the time.
I'm not misusing anything. Look, you see, as he was saying, that transition period, we should give a deadline when you can sign something or not. Please, I employ people, and I know when to employ. I don't wait until a CEO is going to be changed, then I start employing to leave for the next CEO. Whichever government does that, it is wrong. You know the single spine salary structure? It was signed on the 6th of December 20 by Kufuor. 2007. When Kufuor was leaving power, a day before, and left a big burden onto the next government. It means that what Ivan just said, the two parties, we have to understand that the governance system must be transitioned very nicely.
That apply to the private sector.
Traps.
I was just going to use you as an example because you have a private facility. You don't have that. You never have that challenge where your people will just mass up and say you haven't paid us. But when it comes to government, the clearance has been given, and yet the money doesn't go out.
You see, it is because people in Ghana, institutions do not work. Just like Obama told us, let's allow institutions to work. people have worked and they have not paid. And the law states that if you work and you are not paid, what do? You take the employer to a particular place to hold the employer responsible. The court should work. The labor commission should work. That if you employ me and after some number of months you don't pay me, I take you to the labor commission. Like they will take me, a private person, to a labor commission. Take government to the labor commission. If you can't, you go to a high court, to appeal court. If that is established one day and the minister is asked, next time no one will do it. And they do this simply because if you know you have, like you're saying, if you know you have so many people that you can't